Hello. If you're tuning in now, then you've probably heard the story up to this point. And if you haven't, I'd advise you go back and check. Catch up, so to speak. Otherwise, you're unlikely to believe the current circumstances I find myself in. You know, those oh-so unbelievable details, like the fact that I'm a freaking werewolf. Yeah, that one's a bit of a mind jumper. Kinda hard to grasp unless you already know it. It definitely takes some getting used to. I mean, I am one and I'm still sort of getting used to it. But, as weird as that set of circumstances is, my circumstances get weirder. So believe me, you want to know. Currently, I'm standing in the middle of a party that I've already been to once. If you haven't gone back and checked at this point, then you're just going to be lost. And it's kind of your own fault. So, I'm standing there, shaking the burger girl's hand, and realizing that it's in this very moment that my death was decided by the oh-so-clever beings that, well, decide fate. Right here, right now, in this very instant, my death came to be. The only question is, how? How the hell did my death get written into the strings of fate right here? I thought, as she shook my hand firmly, but still with a fair amount of gentleness. The cute, somewhat bubbly burger girl smiling at me as if she's simply overjoyed to make my acquaintance for the first time as a werewolf. I remember this moment, how it really surprised me that she was a werewolf. I mean, I had seen her so many times at the burger shop. And after this event, she always seemed pretty friendly, offering me and my friends free burgers. I mean, is it the burger girl? Is the burger girl the one who killed me? Okay, that would be the lamest twist of fate ever. Killed by the burger girl. No, there's gotta be another explanation. I thought to myself as she finally released my hand, as she finished her bit of introduction, asking me to come by the burger shop sometime, saying that she'd make it worth my while. So I promise, I'll give you a sweet deal. Yeah, of course, I replied, trying to be friendly as my eyes began to dart about, looking around to see what everyone was doing, wondering if anybody was paying specific, or shall we say, nefarious attention towards me. Maybe somebody who looks pissed off enough to come kill me in my bed while I'm sleeping. But the difficult part in it was that basically everyone was looking at me, and most people seemed generally happy. I might have thought it was Sylvester. I mean, after all, I did beat him in that brawl, but the werewolf who killed me when I was sleeping definitely didn't fit Sylvester's appearance. Sylvester's form looked terrifying, but it was much different than the one who killed me. The one who killed me seemed extremely gaunt, like they had no meat on their bones, no muscle either. I've never seen a werewolf like that. But then again, it could be more complicated than simply they wanted to kill me themselves. I have to remember, I thought to myself as I stared about, trying to find anybody who looked untoward. There's also a debt system when it comes to werewolves. Just because that's the werewolf that killed me doesn't mean that's the werewolf who wanted to kill me. They could have been called in on a debt, which makes this even more confusing. How the hell do you track someone down? If I can manage to track the werewolf, find out who that specific werewolf is, maybe I can track them back, find whoever they owed a debt to. But that leaves me right back at square one. Whether I'm chasing the original person after me or someone who owed a debt, in the end, I still have to find out who that werewolf was. Otherwise, it'll just happen again. And how did they even reach me? I was supposed to be under guard, I thought as I looked about, looking over my shoulder to find Renee's father approaching, placing his hand gently on my shoulder. Is something wrong, Victor? You suddenly look upset. he asked as he looked down to me. I thought you were getting along swimmingly until a moment ago. What seems to be the problem? Can I talk to you? You and Renee, alone. Perhaps later. There's a party in your honor. Well, you and my daughter, of course. You should enjoy it. No, I replied, trying to be persistent. Look, I really have to talk to you. Like, right now. You, Renee, your wife. This is really, really important. Victor, whatever could be more important than this? This is your pack. You have to get to know them, Victor. This is important for establishing yourself within the pack. There are very few things that don't, well, pale in comparison to the importance of establishing yourself, he said as he began to lean down towards me, whispering a bit, to try to not be overheard. What on earth do you think is so important that we suddenly have to abridge ourselves from this group, this event, which once again is in your honor? You're the guest of honor at the party. I don't mean to be a bother, I replied, whispering back, beginning to get frustrated. But this is some very, very heavy stuff. Some Salvera Reaper stuff. I don't mean to alarm you, but I just became really aware of a very specific ability of Salvera Reaper that is of the utmost importance that it be discussed right this instant. In the moment, Renee's father suddenly looked very surprised. You mean right here? You discovered one of his abilities already? Well, it's complicated. Once we get somewhere private, we can discuss it. Yes, of course, he said as he leaned away again, putting a fake smile on his face as he looked out to the crowd. Well, folks, I know he is the guest of honor at our party, and many of you are looking forward to meeting him, getting your greetings in, and there'll be plenty of time for that. But for just a moment, we're going to have ourselves a family meeting. Myself, my wife, my daughter, and of course my beloved new son-in-law. It will only be a short excursion, folks. Do not lament. We'll be back shortly, he said as he began to gesture to Renee and her mother, who were standing nearby looking curiously as they passed glances between each other, no doubt wondering why the sudden reprieve, as we all began to make our way out of the party grouping and back towards the mansion, eventually finding our way inside, as Renee's father locked the doors behind us. Okay, Dad, what's going on? Do you have a problem with Victor already? You just announced our marriage. Don't tell me you already have a discrepancy with him. No, I'm afraid it's Victor who's called this meeting. What? Renee replied. Well, aren't you bold? Renee's mother said. Haven't been married to Renee for more than a day and you already think you can call private meetings. You do realize that you're not the pack leader. Yes, I'm not the pack leader, I understand that, but this is very, very important. Well, what on earth is it? Well, speak up. You've dragged me away from the party. I hope whatever you have to say is quite interesting. Someone at this party had me murdered, I replied quickly, as everyone began to look at me curiously. What are you talking about, Victor? I know you had a discrepancy with Reginald, with Sylvester, but I don't think he's the type to try to murder you. That was just a brawl. It, of course, had rules. No, that's not what I'm talking about. As I said, I just became aware of one of the abilities of Salvera Reaper, I replied. Yes, you said that before, but what is this ability, and why do you think they're going to murder you over it? No, they're not going to try to murder me over the ability. The ability let me know that they're going to try to murder me. Well, actually, the ability just lets me sort of get over it. What are you talking about, Victor? You're not making any sense. Renee's father said, crossing his arms and cocking his head as he looked at me, thinking that I've lost my marbles. I have to agree with my dad, Victor. You're talking crazy. No, Renee, that's the craziest part about it. I'm not. Listen, let me explain. From the moment that I shook the Burger Girl's hand, a set of events was put in motion. The powers of Salvera Reaper, well, they're very interesting, to say the least. And you're all going to be surprised to hear this, but I have already lived out an entire week of my life that preceded the very moment after I shook the Burger Girl's hand. The whole week, every moment of it, every day of it. And 1 week after this party, a werewolf shows up in my room while I'm sleeping and kills me. Their face is literally the last thing I saw before I died. What? Renee's father said, looking absolutely stunned. Yeah, it's one of the abilities of Salvera Reaper. It's a life reset switch. If ever any set of events leads to my demise, my death, then I get what you might call a reset. It sends me back in time to the very instant when that death was set into motion. Basically, I get another shot, another try at evading that death. And believe me, it's coming. 1 week from today, at night, as I'm sleeping, a werewolf is somehow going to get past the security guarding me and murder me in my sleep. Ain't that a fucking bitch? I said frustratedly as I cradled my head in my hand. I can still feel their claw buried into my chest. That fucking sucked. No freaking way, Renee said, looking at me in amazement, as she suddenly got a bright smile on her face, rushing over and hugging me tightly, pressing her face against mine. My husband's unkillable. It's amazing, she said, sounding overjoyed. No, Renee, I am not unkillable. Trust me, I am highly killable. You said yourself, reset switch. Anytime someone tries to kill you, you just go back in time and you can stop it from happening. Sorry, Renee, but it doesn't work that way. I don't get infinite retries like a video game. Basically, I have 3 chances. What? Renee said, her smile starting to fall away. Yeah, every living person gets a candle. That represents their life force and essence. Everybody else only gets 1. But my candelabra has 3 candles on it. If I am unable to divert this death before it happens, then I'll die again. That means I'll be down to 1 candle. Once that happens, it'll be my final shot. That's how this specific ability of Salvera Reaper works. You get 3 opportunities to waylay fate. And after that, regardless of how you feel about it, it's set in stone. No going back, no more retries. 3 strikes, and you're out, I said, looking about their very concerned faces, as the events had already been set in motion. Now, the only question was I going to be able to actually stop it?